Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new show, new concept. I don't know if it's a new concept or not. A couple of guys talking about issues is not exactly groundbreaking stuff, but that's exactly what we're going to do. You're listening to The Middle Class Voice, a show presented by my buddy and I, Dave Gluhariff. I'm Chuck Vipperman, and we want to hear from you. In subsequent episodes of The Middle Class Voice, we want to talk to not just the movers and the shakers, but those that are impacted by the movers and the shakers, those who get up, work every day, and wonder what in the heck is going on. I'll introduce Dave. And Dave, we've been talking about this for some time. In between workouts and whatever, we look at things that are government policy, things that are even beyond government policy that impacts us on a day-to-day basis. And we just wanted to know, what if the middle class, the regular Joe and Jane, had a voice? And that's kind of what we're hoping to do here.
That's exactly right, man. And, you know, me, I consider myself an independent. I see issues on both sides and agree with both sides on certain issues. But a lot of us, you know, we've been talking about this stuff for a few years. And a lot of us feel like when we say something, we're ridiculed or we're called a racist or a sexist, and we're just trying to discuss an issue that might be important to, you know, our household budget, something close to our family or family members or ourselves personally. And it doesn't feel like there's many forums for that right now. You have an extreme right or an extreme left, and the mainstream media doesn't tend to listen to us.
Mainstream media now, unfortunately, is we used to say that, and it would be, you know, the nightly news with Walter Cronkite or whatever. Now it's the 24/7 news networks, and I know you watch a lot of it. I can't watch it. It gives me a headache. I have to admit, I have to read to consume all my information. But if an alien were to land in the U.S. and watch only 24/7 cable news, he would think that 50% of this country is so far right they're about to fall off the spectrum. The other 50 so far left they're about to fall off the spectrum. Witnessing that is kind of what birthed this.
It is.
We wanted to do something different.
And, you know, for the last few years, you and I have been discussing these issues from the Affordable Care Act, a.k.a. Obamacare. We've been discussing this stuff for years. You and I both saw how the election was going to go for 2016. We pretty much called it. Nobody else was really believing it.
I wish we'd have had in the gym a tape player that would have recorded us saying, Chuck, Dave, there's a whole lot of Trump signs out there. That's got to mean something. And it turned out it did.
It is. Traveling with my sons for travel soccer, my sports for the semi-pro football, for traveling. A friend of mine was going down back and forth to Duke. Everybody was saying, where are the Hillary signs? Sure. You see all these Trump signs, and you're looking like 100-1 sometimes.
And that's not an exaggeration.
Not a bit.
So, yeah, we kind of saw that and said, something's fishy here at least. I mean, he may not win, but he has tapped into something. And, again, like him or don't like him, and I'm both. I mean, I'm right in the middle on as far as Trump is concerned. When he does good, I say, way to go. If he does bad, I say, do better. But whatever you may think, he has tapped into something out there that needs to be heeded at the very least.
And the Republicans didn't tap into that. No. The Democrats didn't tap into it. This is not a bipartisan president. I think the biggest part is you have someone who's finally standing up and saying, "Hey, this is the middle class, the working class people that he said feel forgotten," and that's true. A lot of us feel like with a lot of the issues, there's so much back and forth. You see the approval rating on Congress is the lowest ever. They're not getting things done on both sides.
I don't think they've ever been above 20.
No, that's right. That's right. And Trump,
they're about as popular as ex-boyfriends or girlfriends,
that's right.
I guess.
That's right. And even the Republicans didn't want Trump in there. I mean, You remember the battle. What did he beat? 16 other Republicans.
Others, yeah.
And you forget about any mess between Hillary and Bernie. And the Democratic Party and how much, whether they were raising the right amount of money or Hillary bailed them out or her campaign finance stuff, she didn't work as hard. And so we saw someone who connected with the middle class. Was Trump our first pick? Probably not. And me as an independent, I saw issues on both sides that I really liked, but I also saw this guy doesn't need this. He's standing up. if I were to vote for him, I'm not voting for him because I'm a racist. I don't believe Trump's a racist. I don't believe the sexist stuff. I don't believe in that. You look at the shows he's been involved with, the work he's done for years, none of those things he's never been accused of those things before.
And those words in our modern day culture, unfortunately, have been bandied about so much that they've almost become meaningless. And that's sad, because it should be a very powerful thing. If someone truly is a racist or a sexist, that should be a bad thing. Now, because everybody is that, apparently, if they disagree with you, then those words have lost their power. There are lots of others that are happening, and that's true. Again, that me versus them, the totally binary way of thinking is why we started this, and why we hope in the future to have not just some of our friends, but some of those who disagree with us quite a bit on some of these issues to talk about it. This isn't Hannity. This isn't O'Reilly. This isn't Maddow. You're not going to be shouted down. You're not going to be called this, that, the other thing. Cupcake, snowflake, radical, racial, whatever. I might chuckle and let you know, boy, that was dumb.
Yeah.
But I won't say it. I'll try not to anyway.
And Chuck, the goal for the middle class voice, from what you and I are starting here, this is to give a platform, a place for opinion, for mature, good old-fashioned debate and discussion, without beating people up, without name-calling, and just say, hey, these are the issues that are important to us. You and I are not going to agree with the president because we're not robots. We're not programmed to do that.
We're not going to agree with each other, and that's fine.
Exactly.
That's exactly. One of the best quotes I ever heard is, if two people agree 100% of the time, one of them is not necessary.
And my good friends, we can discuss this without a battle. And you can have a heated exchange if you want. But our goal is to have a platform. We want to hear from real, not political pundits. I get tired I watch every news channel. I read everything. I was reading 11 to 14 articles a day, watching every news station I could before the election.
That's not healthy.
No, it's not.
Come on, man.
And that's not even my business.
I know.
And what I found is you have these political commentators who apparently are experts on North Korean nuclear disarmament, to
and LBGT
sexual relations,
exactly.
Sexual relations. It was just it's absurd that you have the same old commentators on there, and then if they don't like what somebody says, all of a sudden it's name calling instead of saying, "Hey, let's just discuss this like adults."
Well, my issue with the commentators, left and right, is that they are looking at an issue, any issue, trying to arrive at a conclusion. If you are a Fox expert, you're going to at least try to spin something in a way that would favor the right, opposite MSNBC, CNN, whatever. So it's not honest.
No,
and I mean, it's not. I mean,
you can call it the president will call it fake news. You can call it false news. You can call it falsehoods. I think what we're having here, I had my pastor use a quote one time: "Hurting people hurt people." And that's not original to him, but I feel like the mainstream media is hurt. Like it was when Obama was here, like it was when the other president, there's always going to be someone hurt, and they're going to lash out and bash instead of saying, hey, we have a world full of news. And Chuck, CNN, MSNBC, and them, a lot of them are covering nothing but Trump bash, hooker, prostitute, porn star, whatever they can find to belittle the president instead of saying there's all this other news. I'm not asking them to like the president. I'm not going to like the president all the time.
No.
But you want to have a world of news reported on. So when you ignore the whole rest of the world and obviously the middle class who's working hard and trying to make it through this, and we feel like Trump has a finger on that for us. When you're ignoring that, we want to have the platform here with the middle class voice to say, hey, come talk about what issues are near and dear to you. It doesn't matter where you're from. I'm an independent. I don't even know what you are.
I have no idea.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You want to do that, and you don't want to have a shout fest.
Yeah.
But you want to at least discuss these issues instead of every day turning on and seeing Trump bash, Trump bash, Trump bash, or turning on and seeing Trump defense, Trump defense, Trump defense.
Yeah, and of course, media is driven by ratings, no doubt about it. They are giving their audience what they want to hear. I don't care which side of the spectrum you're on. It's called confirmation bias. You don't draw a lot of new viewers by alienating your current ones. I understand that. I understand that they are a business and they are trying to make money. That is fine. Don't do it while calling yourself an independent, objective journalist. That's always been my issue with the mainstream media. It does not take a great deal of research to determined that the so-called legacy media, the networks, New York Times, Washington Post, they have a left lean.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, the concept of a truly unbiased press is only about 70 or 80 years old. Turn of the century, every major American city had the conservative newspaper, the liberal newspaper, the wacky newspaper, the police newspaper, the lawyer's newspaper,
That's right.
And you knew what it was. So, yeah, if you're going to be, lean slightly to the left, that's fine, but don't act like you're 100% independent.
It's true.
And again, one thing we want to point out on Middle Class Voice is that for the most part, middle class America, lower class America for that matter, does not have time to consume political punditry 8-9 hours a day.
Right. Exactly
it is
right.
something that they can only devote a few minutes per day to. It is not their life. It is not their sport.
Yep.
And we hope to present information in such a manner whereby it is easily digestible, understandable, and hopefully enlightening, because quite frankly, you've got other things to do. You've got babies to raise. You've got a job to go to. You've got a church picnic to plan. You've got Easter to get ready for. We hope we can present these issues in an interesting way, quickly, understandably, and at least pique your interest some, and hopefully, in some small way, raise the level of discourse.
That's exactly right. And Chuck, here, people, when you watch the news or national news, people forget, in South Central Virginia, where we are, issues are looked at differently here than they may be in, downtown San Francisco.
No way.
In New York. And people forget that. We're not thinking the same way, whether it's about how to protect schools, the NRA, the gun issue. All of those issues are different if you're looking at, a country teenager who might go hunting with his or her father versus someone who's in the city who doesn't, not around guns like that. And people need to be able to discuss these things. Dear friends of mine, they're, on both sides or no side, we talk about these issues. That's what this is about. This is about discussing real issues maturely with real Americans, us, and to say, hey, this is what's important to us. We don't want to be told by the media anymore, this is what you need to feel. Mm-hmm. And if you don't feel this way, you're bad.
You're a bad person.
We don't need that anymore.
Yeah, and boy, we could have a whole show on the urban versus rural divide in America, and that's fine. I mean, we should not be homogenous. We should not be the same. You should be able to go to downtown San Francisco and downtown Kentucky and be able to tell the difference.
Absolutely.
That's part of the spice of American life.
And respect each other.
Exactly.
And respect each other.
And
That's exactly right.
And understand that what works in downtown Kentucky is not going to work in downtown Frisco and vice versa.
Right. And I'll tell you, Chuck, you and I talked about this a little bit ago. You have a changing in America right now. I think that you have, this is my opinion, like this whole thing is our opinion, and then the callers and the people that we'll interview, these are all of our opinions. You have a change in America right now where people really want to take care of America. Whether you say put America first, whatever. You and I cannot go out and help other kids until we help our own kids. You and I can't help anybody else's budget. We can't donate money to some charitable cause that we love to do. We can't do that unless we take care of our home first. America is our home.
Yeah.
And we have to take care of that first before we go out giving money away that we don't have.
Yeah.
We have huge debt. Our debt went so high. It was already high under Bush. Our debt went way higher under Obama. When Obama said he'd fix it, he didn't. I don't have any problem with that. I just have, the problem is you have someone new has to come in and try to get this job done. So Trump's there. We got to give him a chance. If he doesn't fix the debt, boom, you're out of there.
Yeah.
Somebody else needs to come in. It's not personal, but this is a job. And we have to look at where America is, what America needs. Our president right now, we all know he's not a traditional president, but who cares? Who cares about that? What we
These
want
are not
right
traditional
now,
times.
That's not traditional times. We're in a heap of foreign policy trouble, and whether we have to get out of it, get stronger, get firmer, be tougher, whatever we have to do to get through that. We've got a lot of things going on. We've got a rough economy that needs to be fixed. We had a failing healthcare system for the last 8 years that failed. People can say Obamacare was this, that. It was failing. The Democrats denied that it was failing. And then when it did fail, they said, well, let's just fix it instead of overhauling it. No, it needs to be fixed, overhauled, redone.
Yeah,
and people are hurting for it.
Don't get me started on that. That'll be,
it's a whole nother issue.
That'll be one issue that I will not be middle of the road.
Yeah, but we need someone who's going to take charge, who's a leader. He's not a traditional president. We didn't want a traditional president. We don't need that. Obviously, 16 other Republicans that were, let's just say traditional, didn't make it because people voted them out. They didn't just not vote for Hillary, Chuck. They didn't vote for those other traditional dynasty candidates.
It's been the old Chinese proverb says, may you live in interesting times. I could stand a little boredom now. I don't know about you, but
Me too.
But these are interesting times. Hopefully, here with the Middle Class Voice, as we continue to develop this show, this outreach, we'll be able to add more elements. We've mentioned the call-ins and whatnot. We have a website that you can go to, middleclassvoice.com. Where we'll be putting up some poll information, trying to take your pulse to see what it is that you think we and others should be talking about. We want to turn over some of the content, of course, to the consumers, to the listeners, and maybe when we get really, really brave, we'll do some video stuff.
Right.
See,
we'll have to get in shape for that first.
Yeah.
But I think one of the
doesn't translate to video. Let's put it that way.
I think one of the biggest things we need to know is this is not something that we want to have any kind of social media page, website page, blog, everything that we're going to work on for this to help people hear that. This is not about you and I's voice, which we know. This is about America's voice, the middle class voice. We want to hear hardworking people, what they have to say about these issues, what's near and dear. And we don't want it to be come in and just call names. And we're gonna delete that stuff. We're not gonna play games with that and have that. We're not messing with free speech. What we're doing is you're not gonna come on and bash. There's enough of that going around. We want a clean, mature platform of discussion for people.
Well, even if we did delete everything, we're not the government, so we can't impact it. Only the government can censor. That's one of the nuggets of wisdom hopefully we'll be able to pass along here.
That's right.
Folks, we appreciate you putting up with this little introductory podcast to kind of let you know, kind of lay the groundwork of what Dave and I are going to be doing from here on out. We want to hear from you. Go ahead and follow the prompts that you see in this podcast or this link, and go ahead and book the site, bookmark the webpage, and keep your ears open. We're going to have a lot of fun with this, talking to people just like you and me. You've been listening to the Middle Class Voice. Have a good day, everyone.